I want to see Mina Zerai.
Fair enough.
Can I see Mina Zerai? Can you show me to her? Actually, wait. I was gonna ask. Should we do the mini golf thing if we can find it?
Oh, mini golf would be good. Let me find mini golf.
Yeah.
Let's see if I have it saved here.
Nox asked me. Oh, sorry. Go on, Nox.
We might not see her because we got a whole wall of text.
Well, that's what I mean.
Well, yeah.
But I want to hear from her.
Yes.
Nox asked me who my favorite Paranatural character the other day, and I like hesitated like heavily for a long time.
I mean, mine was Isaac for a really long time, but I really like the adults now too, because they've got more focus recently.
I answered to Nox. I said Richard Spender and Mina Zerai, and I want them. They are very good. I want them to be friends again.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm switching my PC to see if I've got it. But it could have been on my old PC, so I don't actually know.
Is this gonna be in the YouTube pod?
No.
Is this going to be in the YouTube pod? No. No. This is a limited edition Twitch VOD only thing that I don't think needs to be in the Paranatural VOD.
I mean, we've been at this for like
it's been almost an hour we've been making this, so
I've been at Target for almost an hour.
Almost an hour to put 10 fucking images into OBS.
Oh, it's still going.
See,
I don't know where I would get it anymore because I got it off Gumroad, but they took the Gumroad down.
Are you sure it's not on his Patreon? Or their Patreon?
I don't know because I'm not subscribed to the Patreon.
Oh, well, I'll go subscribe to the Patreon. How about that?
Well, don't do that just yet.
Wait,
hold on.
Well, I needed to anyways, so...
Oh. I think I'll just let this fucking search finish. Why does it take so long to search anything?
Alright, I am logged
Finish
in.
searching.
How do you search on Patreon? Oh.
I don't know. I never really used Patreon.
Yeah, I think something is breaking my Patreon because there's no search bar. I will click on it from the Paranatural website instead. Alright, let's see how much.
I can't see it, by the way, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. You're not supposed to be able to see it. I don't want you to see me.
I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
No.
Okay.
Paranatural only has 500 patrons. There should be more.
It's not Homestuck levels over here.
There should be more, I think. I'm not sure if it's on here.
Together, we can make Zach's patrons rise.
I'm gonna look up.
Yeah, I'm sure that this will.
Exponentially.
Everyone? Actually, the lowest tier is $1.
Yeah. I looked through it a little bit.
I'm on Read Cart Comic Online. I'm just gonna look up Paranatural.
Spicy.
Didn't work.
Noodles are spicy.
Noodles are spicy?
Rip.
Yeah.
What do you mean no items match your search? Oh, yes, it does. Give me one moment. Okay. Documents. No. Desktop? No. Downloads. Oh god.
Wait, did you find it?
No. But I
Then what are you downloading?
I'm not downloading anything.
Oh.
I'm not looking through my local disk. Hold on.
Oh. Do you think you have it downloaded?
Swear. I had like something that popped up for a moment, so.
Oh.
But it's not showing up.
We're looking for golf, everyone.
Well, look, the golf is really good. I just wish I had. Paranatural. No.
Did Jack make this while they were on the golf hiatus for a week? In Japan?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, the wiki doesn't even know where it went. This is so
Okay.
sad.
Might be lost to time.
Golf doesn't exist.
So originally this was just... I have the written version.
But the art is good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but there's no images, which is sad. Archive of the illustrated version announcement. Oh.
Huh?
But I want the actual one. Hold on, can I access it on Wayback? Hold on.
I was just gonna... Yeah.
Oh, it's on itch.
I was just gonna say, I went to the page and I think you can still download it.
I think you can still download it. Hold on.
From where?
Itch.
Itch.io?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on, I got it. Yeah.
Oh.
You name
Yep.
your price.
Yeah, you can buy it for $0.
Oh! Okay, well that's good. Alright.
We're saved.
We're saved.
Yeah.
$1. Oh, you don't even have to. You don't even have to pay for it. It's free.
No.
No, I'm not paying for it because I already bought it. I did buy it back in the day, so.
I got it. I
So did
have
I.
it. It's
You
loaded.
got it.
I will share it. 1 second. Here it comes. Finally, after 1 hour, we're reading Paranatural. Alright, let me switch over to the correct capture
Some Toei time.
from Toei Time. Here we go. Let me change the music. 2. PMD Blue. OST. Yes.
Ugh.
Epic.
Yay.
Alright, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Since
I
this
can
is
read it.
on...
Just do the voices.
Huh?
I can read it. You guys just do the voices when they talk.
Oh, it's text
Yeah,
again?
sure.
It's illustrated prose.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's more
I
prose.
didn't know when it was made.
Yeah, it's more prose.
This was made during a hiatus, actually. For us to enjoy stuff. It was made by voice to text, I believe. More edited, but mostly voice to text.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
You ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a moonless summer night in Mayview. The kind of warm and haunted night that made you feel nocturnal just by breathing it. Where the air is charged with mischief and each streetlight feels like something hungry's dangling lure. This night, enveloped in it, bugs were humming, bats were swooping overhead, and the Paranatural Activity Club was on the second to last hole of miniature golf.
And I'm sure this will
Cute.
go perfectly fine.
Cute. Look at Isaac's face.
This is the worst ever.
Said Max, leaning on his club for physical and emotional support. His latest putt had sent the ball careening off a clown's eyelash in the moat below.
You're only saying that
Said Isabel, who generally lives life under par.
because of how terribly you're losing.
I mean, it's really not that bad, said Isaac, who'd watched a niche sports anime about minigolf recently and was struggling to contain his excitement.
Of
He
course
couldn't let on
has.
that he had joined things in case someone could somehow use that data to extrapolate all the embarrassing secrets he didn't have. Minigolf, that is. It's passable.
Oh.
Ed
Aw.
said nothing because he had ditched them to ride go-karts.
I don't
Hell yeah.
mean the sport. Obviously, there is potential here.
Max gestured at a plastic skeleton by the entrance, holding a sign that said "Golfers Beware," as if that was clear evidence of the fact.
I mean, this whole situation.
Small business Benson's gas station and human joy emporium was an oasis of fluorescent light on the dark forest outskirts of Mayview. I will say that one of the newer chapters alt text was, I will never stop introducing terrible Mayview local businesses.
Good.
So take that how you will.
Thank God.
Do you think the vampire dad owns this place too?
Probably.
Yes.
Which, through clever marketing and standard tax evasion, had become a popular and profitable hotspot for teen activity. From its humble beginnings as an illegal, unlicensed White Castle, S.B. Benson's had gone... I never been to a White Castle, so I don't get that joke.
Unlicensed White Castle?
An unlicensed White Castle. S.B. Benson's had gone on to spawn a mini-golf course, an arcade, a go-kart racetrack, a semi-functional bowling alley, and a complicated network of crime syndicates. But, unlike the rest of the adolescents milling about, Max and the others weren't here to have fun with any of those. They were on a mission, one that their supernatural mentor, Mr. Spender, had sprung upon them unexpectedly.
There is a powerful spirit
He'd said.
that dwells within the final hole.
Max had led a course of groans to the back seat of Spender's car. The club had had a stressful week, full of tough fights and tougher interpersonal drama. He expected this outing to be a brief reprieve. Reprieve, whatever, who cares? Mr. Spender went on, beaming obliviously.
You'll need to harness its power in the battles ahead, but it won't appear unless you play a full course of mini-golf together. It's shy in that way. I think he's lying.
Yeah.
Mr. Spender probably winked at this point, but they couldn't be sure, since he was wearing sunglasses and since none of them were looking at him anymore. The kids had been reluctant to indulge him at first, but early on, in a very dark and very plastic golf cave, Mr. Spender had disappeared, apparently kidnapped by the spirit of the final hole. Undoubtedly, the price for completing the course was his life. That was generally how this kind of thing went. Mr. Spender was the ride home. He played on.
This is just a Gravity Falls episode.
It is.
I
love their little found family of a club group.
It's horrible. I swear to
It's bad.
golf.
Grumbled Max, rolling up his sleeves to go fishing for his ball.
If the spirit of the final hole is friendship, I'm gonna put this club through Spender's windshield.
Max had been having a rough night. Not only had he earned the nickname Bogeyman from the jeering high school sophomores who'd lapped him around the course twice already, his many wayward drives into the moat had also sparked a feud with the resident mosquito population, which was considerable, given the Emporium's abundant teen blood, bright lights, and standing water. Mind over matter, Isaac had said, trying to be helpful. If you don't think about the bites, they don't itch. He hadn't yet been bitten once because his power gave him a slight electrical charge, making him a human bug zapper.
Oh man.
Mini-golf looks the same way. Think of the club as an extension of...
Well, which is it?
Max had demanded, sending his ball sailing off into the darkness with a full-powered swing.
Look at that picture.
I like that Isaac face.
I like that Isabel face.
The eyebrow.
Do I think or don't I?
You're overthinking it.
Isabel had said, and Max had screamed.
Ah!
It was another 15 minutes before Max could retrieve his ball from the moat and complete the penultimate hole. He scored 100, the highest he'd ever scored on anything. And then about a minute for his friends to follow suit. Isaac made par. Isabel successfully executed the oft-theorized but never before seen hole in none. Max turned his frustration on the mosquitoes, swiping at them ineffectually with his golf club.
Alright. I'm done trailblazing. Next hole, you guys go first, and I'll learn from your failures.
Issa and I went mini golfing when I was over there, and one of us won by one. I don't remember.
It was me.
You did. Okay.
Mini golf's fun.
Mini
It
golf
is
is
fun.
really fun. The mini golf course near me is actually really good.
It is.
Isaac and Isabel gave each other a look of concern, though neither would readily admit to it. The two of them were Max's biggest cheerleaders in the activity club, and were always looking out for him. Neither of them wanted to see him struggle like this. The pair exchanged subtle nods. No words passed between them, but they both knew that they'd reach an understanding. The final hole would be different. The path before them was a long one, twisting up a castle tower and onto the ramparts above. No one spoke the whole way. Isaac, who'd been dual-wielding with his own golf club and Ed's abandoned one, was a joke, he'd said, but actually because it was the gimmick of his favorite character from Mini Driver Matsuo. It was directing was dragging both clubs behind him against the walls around the stairs, imagining cool sparks coming out. He racked his brain, trying to figure out how to make Max see how epic mini-golf could be without expressing any passion for it himself.
Epic.
He'd settled for him making par just once. Isabel looked to be reading a text from Ed. You can read that one in Ed voice if you want.
Oh.
You won't believe who died in this ball pit.
But in truth, she too was lost in thought. At this point, she was going to win. Oh, no matter what. All that was left to be determined is how she'd feel about winning. Isabel knew Max wouldn't begrudge her getting first place, would congratulate her and mean it, would stop complaining so that she could enjoy her victory. But she knew that it would taste sweeter if Max got a win of his own. That way, she could really rub it in his face without feeling guilty in the slightest. Max stomped along behind them, swatting away mosquitoes.
He's scraping them.
Yeah, imagining cool sparks coming out.
God.
Oh, man.
Having reached the top of the castle, they turned a corner through a grand doorway guarded by no less than a dozen skeletons holding golfing beware signs. The final hole is upon them. A straight road of green felt flooring stretched out across the castle wall, in cruel mockery of grass. Some 20 feet away, the final hazard they had to face awaited them, looming overhead. It was a windmill.
Kind of an unimaginative climax.
Muttered Max. Then, after a beat,
Does this place even have a theme?
Isabel looked over the wall at the pirate ship down by the 11th hole.
I think it's mini golf themed.
She said, and shrugged. Max let out a deep sigh.
Let's just get this over with.
Isaac went first. Oh god.
Sorry.
His first stroke bounced off the windmill's slowly spinning blades, but the next got through, and in 2 more he'd made it in the hole. A bogey, Isaac said, walking back towards Max and Isabel and idly spinning one golf club like a cool guy at a Ren fair. Not bad for the final hole. He sidled up along Max and leaned against the castle wall. This mini golf is kind of fun. It's pretty kind of fun. Never fuck it. Isaac tried to look up at the stars, but got an eyeball of fluorescent light instead. Perhaps I'll give it another go. Someday, he said, squinting. Max just blinked at him.
I fucking hate him.
I love him. Isabel was up next.
Watch and learn.
She said, lining up a shot. She took her time, running through the motion of swinging over and over, longer than she'd done for any other hole. If anyone did want to watch and learn from her, she'd definitely given them plenty of time to do it. Isaac smiled. Isabel struck the ball, a swift, short stroke. It shot forward, straight as an arrow, slipped through the windmill's blades, rolled up right to the hole, and stopped.
Dang it!
Isabel exclaimed, slapping the ground with her club.
Oh, I hate to see that. Better luck next hole,
Said Max.
Oh, wait.
He grinned like a fool. Isabel punched him in the shoulder.
There. Now you're a sore loser before I've even finished beating you.
She said with a scowl, but cracked a smile when she had her back to him. While marching down the green to finish out her birdie, Isabel dragged her golf club heavily behind her, leaving a trail in the felt. She tapped the ball into the hole and turned to stick her tongue out at Max. Her shirt says tennis.
Yes,
It does.
I noticed that.
It was his turn to face the final hole.
Does Isabel Guerrero play tennis?
They're just wearing tennis because it's golf.
Oh.
It's funny because it's a different sport.
It's funny.
Yes.
Once Isabel had gotten out of the way, Max set his ball down and took a few practice swings, doing his best to imitate the stroke that was a near success for Isabel. The others were quiet, holding their breath. The chatter of the team below, distant rumble of go-karts, the hum of bug and fluorescent lights. They melded together, forming a drone that seemed to rise in volume with the tension in the air. A bead of sweat dripped down from Max's forehead. Finally, he broke the deafening silence.
Do you ever think about how there's mini golf, but not mini versions of other sports?
Isabel smiled. He always talked too much when he was nervous.
No, Max.
She replied.
I'm not broken in that way.
I feel like if miracles were real, someone would have made sure that we had tiny baseball with pirates and dragons by now.
Max said, doing one more practice swing. Little League? Asked Isaac, trying to be helpful.
True.
Max scoffed. Fuck.
Don't get cute with me, Isaac.
Poor Isaac spotted out his reply, getting redder with each stumbled word. I wasn't. It takes one to know. You're the one who. You're cute with me!
What is this? Hold
He
on, wait a
he
minute.
got called cute, but not intentionally that way.
Isaac, I think you've got a problem.
Look at
Isaac.
Isabel's face. She looks like a Muppet.
His cheeks went supernova. Isabel's guffaw echoed out across the whole golf course.
Man.
Fine, Little League. Miracles are real then. Let's go!
Yelled Max, hitting the ball with his best imitation of Isabel's stroke. It flew straight ahead, following the path her club had left in the belt. Isaac snapped back to attention. The ball zipped forward, on track to reach the final hole. But the windmill's blades were coming in fast. All three kids inhaled sharply. It wasn't gonna make it.
I don't want to keep saying that Isaac's just me, but...
Then suddenly, the night breeze picked up, caught the windmill's blades, and spun them faster, letting the ball through by a hair. Isabel stifled a gasp, saving it for whatever was about to happen in the next few slivers of a second. The ball rolled. As the ball slowed, rolled to a stop at the edge of the final hole, hung there precariously for a few moments, and fell in.
Yeah!
Yeah!
The activity club leapt into the air and collapsed back down into a chaotic embrace. Crosstalk congratulations and expression of disbelief soon gave way to laughter.
That means I win, right? Like a golden snitch situation.
Said Max, smiling. Isabel punched him on the shoulder, very lightly this time. His smile unfolded further into a grin.
Just kidding.
He said.
Good game, Isabel. Isaac.
Max slapped them both on the back and took off down the green to fetch his ball.
B.O.B.! Oh.
Oh.
After a moment, Isabel and Isaac turned and gave each other a sly look.
Nice weather tonight, huh, Isaac? Real breezy.
Oh.
Said Isabel, smirking. We both know you could have gotten that hole in one, Isaac replied, returning the expression. We just wanted an excuse to lead a slug trail Max could follow. Isabel reared back, feigning indignation.
Well, I never. You must think very lowly of him if you think he needs directions to follow a straight line.
Are these three dating? Like,
Yes.
Maybe so.
maybe so.
Very
They
cute.
They stared at each other for a beat, then broke out laughing again. Isabel leaned in closer and said in a whisper,
You didn't steer the ball too, did you? I think he'll probably cry if he finds out.
Okay. No, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
At the other end of the castle wall, Max knelt down to retrieve his ball, a smile on his face.
Oh, thanks, guys.
He said under his breath, looking back at his friends. In all the hubbub of his repeated failures, he'd forgotten the most important thing of all. That Mr. Spender had been kidnapped by a powerful spirit that was supposed to appear after they completed a full round of mini-golf. Max started, remembering all at once why they were there. He yanked his hand out of the final hole, as if it was about to bite his fingers off. For all we know, it might have been. Max scrambled backwards on all fours across the green, back to his friends, who had both raised their golf clubs like weapons.
Oh.
Yeah, shocker.
Shocker. Mr. Spender stepped out from behind the window, where he'd been playing Scrabble on his phone.
Hold on, wait a minute. Look at this gay. He's got like an unbuttoned shirt. What's going on here?
Tucked in his shirt and his khakis.
That's exactly what my dad wears to golf.
Easter, I bet.
My dad just walked in and shrugged. Mr. Spender stepped out from behind the window, where he'd been playing Scrabble on his phone for the last hour.
Well done, children.
He said, clapping slowly.
Mission complete. Now you've obtained the power of the most powerful spirit of all, Team Spirit.
Brandishing their golf clubs and shouting obscenities, all three activity club members charged to their teacher as a team.
The
end. I really like that story.
Oh, that's cute.
Burger
It's really
time.
cute.
And Burger coming out of nowhere. He's barely even fucking in the fucking comic.
Yeah, I like how Zach Morrison treats Ed like an actor that they couldn't get for like this part, but like he's a drawing.
I like it.
Like, there's no
Sometimes you don't know
reason
what
you
to do.
couldn't put Ed Berger in. He's a drawing. Well, that was the mini golf mini story.
That was cute.
Now it's time to go back to sad.
Oh, that was very fun.
Oh.
That was fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Check in 7 and the notes. It should be. We did like a few of the text pages, but I don't
Page
remember how many.
53.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like here-ish.
No, we're not.
I'm gonna go back one.
No, we're back
I'm
again.
gonna go back two.
That's
Okay.
yeah. Here.
Here we are.
All right, now we're back onto the real story.
Yes, the real story. Couldn't help but see you and your friends frolicking about earlier, Jean, Paige said, approaching the fire on less of a beeline and more of a parasitic wasp path. So now you owe us for subjecting us to schmaltz. Gage hunched along behind her. As he went, he kicked at any rocks and sticks that dared stand in his way, which, to his secret shame, was almost all of them.
We tried to look away.
Thunk! A pebble Cage had punted hit a tree, lighting up his little cave boy brain.
But you know what they say about train wrecks.
Rolling our eyes, the briefest respite of our retinas.
Added youth culture in a font of unsettling stature. Paige smiled, evidently satisfied with her crony's contribution to the course. Now that the sun's down and you've moved on to a pastime we can salvage, how about you pay us back by letting us join in? And there's some great ghost stories. She leaned in close over Jean's shoulder, luckily choosing the side of him that still had a face to flirt with. Pretty please? I promise we won't bite. A pang of jealousy at her familiarity with his crush furrowed young Spender's brow, causing him to miss another obvious allusion to the fact that these guys were totally vampires. Like, come on, are you kidding me? Jean, for his part, released another sound that defied
Onomatopoeia.
onomatopoeia as a flick of Mina's wrist and a sip of supernatural static returned his eye before the new arrivals could notice it was missing. I'll take that as a yes, smirked Paige, and she gave Jean a little peck on the cheek. It wasn't easy playing the femme fatale in a town with more pine trees than people, not while wearing a bright yellow shirt with a happy cartoon sun in it. But nothing in life was, and Paige was dead.
You shall not.
Spender sputtered out on reflex. It spurred up his voice onto commanding heights and landed, sadly, at youth pastor Gandalf. Despite that, three-fanged smiles faded when he spoke, a skillfully muted fight or flight response. Unbeknownst to him, the trio knew his reputation as the strongest spectral well. Unbeknownst to him, it was among the reasons they were here. Jean's dizziness had begun to subside, allowing him at last to interject. Look, guys, what he means is, I'm fine, not ratting you out for slacking off and letting you smoke, and smoking with you, and lying and saying it was bears when you break stuff. Also shoplifting with you, and giving you rides and stuff. But, he pushed his stray hair back behind his ear. What we have is a professional relationship. What he means, interrupted Mina, is that he's off the clock. Which means right now he's not obliged. Fuck. He's not obliged to babysit. 3 sets of vampire eyes shifted to stare at Isabel, who was busy forming about 1 billion brain synapses after all that she's just witnessed. Mina sighed. Kids are fine. It's the uncanny valley of adolescence that we're too old to ride tonight. She was more than willing to condescend from the top of the year or two she seemed to have on the intruding trio. Mina had already decided that she hated them. It was easy to project the sneering faces of her own childhood bullies onto them. A little bit unfair. Unfair, of course, because these 3 were so much worse. Paige, whose group had been high school seniors for almost a decade at this point, was similarly moved towards cold disdain, but she fought it down. Oh, fuck, I made the stream go away. But she fought it down.
Don't do that.
Instead forcing a soft, venomous smile. So what I'm hearing is, You don't want to know the story of the West Hill Horror.
Oh no.
The West Hill Horror. Jean turned to give Paige a look of utter incredulity. Whatever. Cut with pure, you're better than this, sitcom dad disappointment. Held it for a few seconds, then swiveled back to stare at the others. Alright, let's hear her out, he said, folding like origami. Spender and Mina both let out a ceremonial groan, mourning their united fronts collapse. Paige rose to her feet with a bow and a satisfied smirk. Exactly the triumphant flourish of a stage magician who just realized it was their job to lie to children. The West Hill Horror, she began, was something of an urban legend here at Camp Lakeside. This is Gage.
More like a rural legend, am I right?
Paige cut off Gage's interruption with a withering glare. He licked his lips like a creepy little toad man by way of an apology. They say it stalked these woods for years, continued Paige, resuming her slow trek around the fire. Although no one's seen the beast itself. Click! Paige stomped to a sudden halt in front of Spender. Simultaneously...
Sorry, Bird's a waiting worm. For Mina and Spender up there. They look like birds.
Ew.
They do. Simultaneously, a flashlight she'd had hidden on her sprung to life, blinding him from below. He barely had time to lament the fact that his sunglasses had failed him the one time it would have been practical to be wearing them at night. Paige's eerily underlit face quickly occupied his full attention, not to mention an impolite percentage of his peripheral vision. Only the carnage that's left behind, she finished with a grin, handing the flashlight over to a Spender subdued by bewilderment. Paige kept up a clockwise saunter, this time addressing Mina. Huge footprints leading to and from its hunting grounds. Another flashlight was extended handle first. Mina took it. Veering well, Paige held it with tug-of-war strength for half a second before letting it go. Great gashes on the cabin walls here at this very camp. I thought that was bears, Jean mused dully. Oh, I thought that was you guys, but I told management it was bears.
Of course.
Paige
Always bears.
Paige answered with a beam straight in Jean's eyes, another flashlight. Click! She turned it off and tossed it to him. Jean caught it, despite still squinting, reflexes that seemed a tad uncanny. Where are you getting all these flashlights? Then, of course, continued Paige, ignoring him, and she swung around to loom high over Isabel. There are the kids that have gone missing. The faint popping of spectral energy armor forming reflexively on Isabel's fists and then instantly failing brought a shame-filled blush to the 6-year-old's cheeks. I thought that was bears, said Jean. And all eyes besides the vampire shot him in horror. I'm kidding. Nobody's gone missing, don't listen to her. Paige shrugged. Artistic license, she replied, producing one final flashlight from some unseen pocket of ambiguity that is provided by the void of pure imagination that is prose. That's a good line. But you could be the first. Isabel poured all her focus into looking defiant. She snatched the flashlight as soon as it was offered to her, clinging it close to her chest. Now Paige addressed the whole group, flickering her attention from one listener to the next in sudden jump-scare jolts. After all, the rest of it is true. Really is something strange in West Hill's woods. Something hungry. Something supernatural. Mina looked at Jean.
Oh, I can kiss
Stop.
Misha Collins is gonna be there.
Shut up.
Mina looked at Jean. Sorry, the sentence over again. Mina looked at Jean, who held up his hands in a "don't look at me" gesture. Spender, who dismissed that particular possibility offhand, couldn't help but consider that if Paige wasn't just messing with them, it would have taken a poltergeist of significant power to leave gashes and footprints behind. Something old and angry, maybe even a grudge. But he was getting ahead of himself. Every bump in the night was an evil spirit nailed to a man with a haunted hammer. And what's-his-name's handy-dandy razor suggested complete fabrication long before it reached the crew that was a normal bear. They were here to have fun, not to scour the forest for a fight. Besides, he had Isabel to consider. But, Paige called out, all blasé. Blasé theatrics. I don't know fucking words, dude.
It's alright,
I'll ask
I
you
don't
to
either.
take my word for it. To that end, I propose a challenge.
Good thing I do.
Thank you, Ryan.
Next.
So you're like 3 different people here. Do you want to like?
Yeah,
I'm good. It's okay.
Okay.
Is
I
it?
promise I'm okay.
Okay. Just
You sure
let
you
us
don't
know
want to
if-
give Mina's a ride, Phantom?
No.
Mm.
If I get tired, I'll ask you to read the prose, but
Okay.
I'm okay just now.
Yeah, just let us know.
I like Mina.
We all like me.
Well, you should have called dibs.
I didn't know that she would be such a good character. Thought she was just some random bitch at first.
Damn.
That's very fair. She doesn't get important until chapter 5.
Yeah.
Simple jaunt up West Hill's footpath to the Hawkwatch on the cliffs above the camp, said Paige, sweeping out one arm to gesture at the yawning darkness. That's all I ask of you. If you can reach in one piece, well, it is such a lovely view. You leave proof you came and went, carve your initials or some such, and we'll have proof that there's no horror in the woods. Mina scoffed. Would you? It's hardly a rigorous application of the scientific method. Paige carefully pitched her own scoff to negate Zerai's entirely, an advanced mean girl technique. Getting talked down to by a nerd, and a mortal one at that, was starting to strike a nerve. I don't know what a gist.
I don't know what that is.
It's a reference I don't get. Okay, Gistor. I'm just gonna call it Gistor.
Yeah, I was
snapped.
gonna say J-Store or something.
J-Store. She snapped, keep the fallacy tower to yourself until teacher's done talking. Got it? Her eyes flashed red, reflecting firelight too keenly for just a moment. Paige instantly realized she'd lost her cool when Gage started gleefully kicking and gurgling like the horrible high-chair gargoyle baby. That was, of course, no good. She was so close to having those spectral suckers do her dirty work for her. Paige took in a deep breath worth of unbreathing death goal stillness, counted to 666, and once more forced her friendliest fanged smile. Trust me, she said. On a night like this? Her gaze directed everyone's attention upwards to an unremarkable waning crescent moon. I am going to ask you to take over actually after this page.
Fine.
Okay. Four morsels like yourselves out and about? A hint of earnest amusement curled at the edges of Paige's fake smile when Isabel reacted with unease. If there is a West Hill horror, it'll find you. Satisfied she'd located her softest target, Paige finished with one last twist of the knife. Unless you're too scared to accept my challenge, that is. A scowling Mina muttered something hurtful and entirely true about teenagers in Farsi under her breath. While Jean's attention was mostly focused on youth culture, who had begun to sniff his neck. Spender, however, was starting to come around on the whole situation. If anything, the lack of scientific rigor present in this horror hunt's parameters suggests that what they were actually being subjected to was simply an elaborate prank. Send the hapless campers down a darkened forest path, sneak ahead with a shortcut, lie in ambush, and then boo! Jump out in monster costume or whatever. Teens their age was always doing Scooby-Doo stuff like that, especially weird little freaks like these three. At least Spender assumed they were. He himself had spent his senior year nose-deep in doomed prep school prep in a bit of dad-approval desperation. It was with that thought still in his mind that Isabel's next words reached Spender's ears, resonating with it in a way he couldn't place.
I'm not scared.
She announced, gripping her flashlight so tight its plastic creaked.
I'll go. I'll do the challenge.
She swiftly looked at Spender for permission or a sign of something, pride, perhaps reproach. Startled, the best he mustered was a shaky smile. She turned away just as fast, back to Paige, defiant. Spender couldn't help but feel he failed some sort of test. Lovely, said Paige, unfurling the word with such dark delight that it sounded like it was spoken in cursive. Jean knows the way, and you'll have your flashlights. I'll wait for you here. Someone has to tell the tale once the West Hill horror gets you. This is ridiculous, Mina grumbled. Minutes later, she was in the woods with the rest of them.
Nox, I said, after you said, I'll do the challenge, I went, the challenge!
Oh.
Yeah. The golf broke my fucking mouth.
Understandable.
Who's gonna read it?
You, dumbass.
Okay.
No
Ryan's turn.
No moonlight reached beneath the trees to guide the group through West Hills woods. The footpath's edges, lush with summer growth, completely blocked the earthbound. It's found joke. Oh, Brit. Starscape that was Mayview's many street lamps and warm windows. There was only darkness. Darkness and the shifting bubble of their flashlights' beams, which merely served to seed the black beyond with spooks and specters born of sounds they couldn't source. Far from a silent night, the air was alive with chirping insects, snapping twigs, water trickling unseen, and all the strange hisses, whistling, and distant screeches that only spectrals ever heard. Well, this is nice, proclaimed a cheerful spender, failing to read not just the room, but all the wilderness within a mile radius.
That fucking creature in the back.
There is a creature in the back. Any of his remaining suspicion about their task had been subsumed by his pure Boy Scout love of nature and sensible aerobic exercise.
I like that Gene has his flashlight so meticulously aimed towards it too.
Yeah.
Behind his shoulder.
He's like, yeah. Nat says that's the Slender Man. Yeah, that's
Slender
yes.
Man.
Of course.
Isabel, wide-eyed, was at the front of the group beside him.
Mm-hmm.
She answered, not wanting to signal weakness with her silence. The flashlight she held moved in a steady sweeping patrol, better to disguise her trembling hands.
You know, this is so like those three,
said Gene. His face was fixed in an expression of above-it-all bemusement, ready to intercept any ambush with a no-sell nice try, guys.
Fun little hazing ritual like this. Really ran the gauntlet when they started working here.
Gene took a long, nostalgic drag from his latest cigarette.
Now I wear the gauntlet. Rule this camp with a friggin' iron fist. Show but firm, you know? Truly I do not,
answered Mina.
nor do I know why we're here or where here is supposed to be. Are you certain we're not lost?
It was starting to frustrate her that she was the only one creeped out besides the 6-year-old, and that frustration was snowballing fast. If she could just find an opening to signal...
We're fine. This trail's a straight shot to the Hawkwatch if you iron out his twists and turns and stuff.
Gene traced a concerningly labyrinthine route through the air with a flashlight in a failed attempt to illustrate his point.
Trust me, I know this place like the back of my hand.
Spender smiled at him over his shoulder. Is that the hand with the iron fist gauntlet?
Yeah.
Scoffed Gene, playfully teasing back.
I got a bunch of dark sigils.
Oh my god. Sigils.
Sigils carved in it. Gotta memorize to cast my spells. Is that what you want to hear, you little nerd?
Kinda gay?
Kinda gay. Eye. Just a little peek of an eye.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's closed, but...
A grinning Gene...
No, Melly, he hasn't.
Has...
What?
Melly always...
There's a new meme that apparently I only say the hard C when Melly's not here. Grinning Gene ran up on Spender to repeatedly scuff his shoes. Spender laughed and jogged a few feet out of reach. I should have said it earlier. Damn it. Which startled Isabel, causing her to shine her flashlight right into his eyes. Again, the low angle circumvented his sunglasses. Spender let out a yelp.
Yeah, get him!
Gene took advantage of the still laughing Spender's momentary blindness and put him in a headlock.
Alright, West Hill Horror, dinner served!
He yelled into the silent, brisk night air. Seeing her friends distracted, Mina tapped her forefinger against a patch of pink hidden amidst the brown hue of her hand. The reply came swiftly, matching Morse code drummed against the skin that she'd exchanged with her creation. Patchworm's power. Swapping surfaces with just a touch seemed simple. In Patchworm's hands, or lack thereof, it had been. But Mina was always finding strange uses for it, including this form of communication. Sock Puppy, sadly to say, didn't have the head for dots or dashes. His newborn baby sister, however, as he'd insisted on calling the doctor's first lab-born spirit brainchild, had just the right amount of quiet cunning. Ventralobite darted out from the tree line and scuttled unseen up onto Mina's back, clasping her beneath her cardigan with countless sticky digits. The anxiety that had been pooling in Mina's chest since the hike began was muted in an instant by its power, as if the spirit had taken one great minty deep breath through her whole body. Interesting. This hadn't been Mina's intended use for its control over emotions, keeping her calm in daily life like this. On the roadmap of her research, it was merely a stepping stone 12 paces from her goal. However, she had to admit, in these last few weeks before her planned departure from Mayview, Mina had come to rely on it. An inquisitive wave of warm concern passed over her, causing Mina to jump. Settling herself back down, perhaps with help, she tapped out an embarrassing thank you and continued down the path.
Creature.
Spender shot a glance down towards Isabel, subconsciously expecting her to share his giddy smile. The spooky hike was just the sort of fun activity he used to do with Dr. Berger and the gang when he was young, or if they ended up fighting a deadly phantom in the woods after all, just the sort of thing he used to do with Agent Summers. Those memories were painful now, but he was glad to be sharing the spirit of their best days with the next generation of Mayview Spectrals.
The alt text of the previous page says, "Feel like we could all use a creepy brain centipede these days."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nat says it seems better than anxiety meds. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could all use one, I think.
Isabel, however, was not smiling. Instead, she was all focus, pure determined effort. Oh, she's filled with determination, which matches her haircut perfectly.
Yes.
Whenever Spender overtook her, Isabel would scuttle up to stay beside him, looking a little more frustrated with her tiny legs each time. Spender was instantly reminded of how the fighting stance she'd snapped into that afternoon. She's training right now, he realized. This isn't fun for her. It's just a test. Spender felt silly, then more than a little bit ashamed. He should have noticed sooner. He'd brought her out here to relax, but his presence had poisoned that goal, at least the way he saw it. When Angel, how do you pronounce that?
I would pronounce it Angel, but I don't.
Angel?
I'm not sure.
Angel. When Angel, Isabel's father, had cut ties with Master Guerrera, no, perhaps even before that, the old ghost's hopes for him had fallen onto her and Spender both. Just say Angel. Fine. Fine. For Spender, this was a gift. Attention, guidance, belief in his potential. These were things that he'd been missing since the Burgers disappeared. Since Wild, One-Eyed Shrike had passed. Since Agent Walker went full company man. Since Agent Summers proved a fickle savior. But for Isabel, it was a wait. That much at least was clear. Master Guerrera, gruff as he was, had little praise to spare, and Spender's efforts always seemed to siphon it from hers. Of course, she wasn't having fun. Not with him here. Not after she'd been challenged by those teens. Spender was the score to beat. Even without her grandpa watching, Isabel could still measure her worth against his protege. Isabel. She stared when she heard her name, looking up at Spender as if expecting some critique. Instead, what she saw was the beam of his flashlight squeezed upwards from its origin in one swift motion, condensed into a thinner, brighter line, and tapered to a sharp point with a pinch. Spender brandished the beam sword he'd made from his light powers and did his best Darth Vader breath impression, which, with his voice, sounded much more like a printer out of ink. I am your father, rumbled Spender, glowering nerdily. He grinned right after, awaiting Isabel's big, impressed reaction. She just looked confused.
My father can't do that.
She said then.
My father hates swords.
Oh. Spender sagged, his attempt to break the tension fallen flat.
Because they make the choice to kill for you. He says a weapon that does that is for the weak. He says a weapon's only worthy use is self-defense, and one you wield that way should make you bear the weight of that responsibility. That's why he fights with sticks.
Is that so?
He's wrong, though, because swords are cool, and all weapons kill. Plus, Grandpa can beat him without any.
Dang, your film is work, kid.
Jean had apparently been listening in. Isabel shot him a scowl, then snapped back to scan the darkness in a huff. Spender tugged at his collar, flashlight beam sword hanging limply in his hand. As much as he wanted to help her, he was just no good at this.
Wish I could do that.
Spender perked up, curious. He couldn't see Isabel's face. She was a step ahead of him now. Do what, Isabel? Oh.
I really could James Earl Jones voice.
I saw that. Isabel looked a little embarrassed, like she'd spoken out of turn.
Like, the stuff that spirits do. Special powers.
Her next thought was plain to see. She nearly jumped as it entered her mind.
Don't tell Grandpa.
Isabel shot back at Spender, now wearing a distrustful leer. I won't! Spender sputtered out, I'm cool! The latter was debatable, but the fact that he was holding a lightsaber in one hand and had instinctively snapped the other into a scout's honor salute made that debate unspoken and expedient. Still, he was starting to see his angle here. He couldn't back down now. Spirit powers are really something, though, huh? Spender regarded the weapon he'd conjured, stealing inquisitive glances down at Isabel from behind the cover of his sunglasses. Isabel furrowed her tiny eyebrows at him.
Anyone can make a sword like that,
She said with a level of curt cruelty only 6-year-olds were capable of. A forceful snort from Jean replaced the wind in Spender's sails. It proved poor propulsion. Spender staggered into a shipwrecked halt.
But yours is real. More real.
Spender looked up. What did she mean by that?
Can hit things, right? Like trees and rocks or dogs?
The responsibility minefield of what exactly he was about to encourage had Spender sweating in an instant. Well, yes. Theoretically.
Spectral energy can't do that. And spirit powers, they just work. I don't think that's very fair.
The faintest pop, pop, pop sparked from her fingertips, curled tight into her palms. It was becoming less clear to Spender whether Isabel wanted to use the spirit powers, or if she simply wished her spectral fist could do these things that she considered cheating. Either way, she was talking like such powers were impossible for her ever to use, which was far from the case. Sure, her grandpa taught his pupils to fight without a spirit's help. He valued self-reliance, and by his telling, had seen the worst spirits in possession in his youth. But many of his students were consortium agents bound to haunted tools. Some were even mediums. Heck, Spender was both. Master Guerrero was not one of the few people Spender trusted with that secret, but a supportive if gruff voice when he had struggled to control his shadowy passenger's power. Spender was certain his master could be
I
convinced
can take back over weapons page, by the way.
Thank you. Spender was
take over
certain.
too.
Nox can take over too.
Okay, but if you want, I'll
If you want to read the
No, I'll keep reading.
No.
No,
Oh,
God no.
goodness.
Spender was certain his master could. I can only read a little bit, and then I start to trip over my own words.
Yeah,
Me
Spender-
too, man. That's
I,
all
Spender
right.
I think
was-
that's natural.
Yeah, Spender was certain his master could be convinced to let Isabel bond with a docile spirit. Once she did, she'd have a way to train and fight all on her own, free from her grandpa's strict standards from the martial arts style she'd perfected. Not only that, no two powers were the same. She wouldn't have to measure her progress against her peers. Plus, she'd have a friend like Spender's first tool spirit, or a guide like Lucifer. Yes, this was it. This was how he'd help her. The trees around the group had begun to thin, allowing starlight to peek in twinkling patches. Before they realized that their hike was nearly reached its end, Spender thought he spied the scaffold silhouette of the Hawk Watch against the black ahead and huge sleeping shadow of East Hills across the lake beyond it. He smiled. You know, Isabel, Spender said softly, pushing up his gleaming glasses. There are many paths to power. If you wanted a tool to try and wield the sphere at strength, well, nothing could stop me from getting you one. You're strong and smart and fearless. I bet you'd be great at it. Someday, even the very, very best. He looked down to his charge. Oh. Spender didn't have long to process the expression of profound disappointment on Isabel's face, staring up at him wide-eyed and worried. A deep, baleful howl boomed through the woods. Oh, boy. All right,
Also, we could pass it off like every page if you want.
I can do a few. It's okay.
Okay.
His tool is his sunglasses?
Yeah, this is why he wears it.
Oh.
I
That's why he
figured.
wears it all the damn time.
I thought he just wore them because they reflect light and he can control light.
I feel like there was a mention that said it was his sunglasses before, but I don't remember
Oh.
where exactly.
Oh. Okay.
I kind of
I mean-
assumed that was the case, but
I'm certain it's his sunglasses, though.
could be.
Because
It makes
why else
sense.
I mean, I know he wears them at night because his possession is shown in his eyes, which would be kind of freaky if he didn't wear sunglasses.
Right, yeah.
But, like, I don't see any other tool it could be. Okay, anyway, I'm continuing. It was a horrible animal
His
cry.
tool is his
Somehow-
gay haircut. Sorry, go on.
That's very true. That's very true. Somehow lament and threat together, neither tone defanged by each divergent feeling's depth. Now, why am I already fucking up?
I can take over.
No, I've got this.
Okay.
I just suck. Trees shuddered like
Oh.
frostbit bones, leaving in the great wave's wake a silence even light seemed to retreat from. Spender found himself completely stunned. One by one, his senses settled into blurred cohesion, hair standing on end. The flashlight's blade dispersed once more, the matchstick sizzle of Isabel's energy failing to form into armor again and again. He reached out, put his hand down on his shoulder.
It's okay.
Spender said shakily, in a breath, and again, more steady now.
It's okay, Isabel.
She looked incredulous, to say the least. Her eyes were saucers, her body locked into a rigid battle stance. Spender smiled sympathetically.
Looks like we heard our West Hill horror, huh? Don't worry. There's a lot of weird sounds in the woods when you're a spectral. We just lucked out and got one that's close by.
Boy, but that had been a spooky howl. Spender was truly concerned there for a second, especially after the fear he'd thought he'd briefly glimpsed on stoic Mina's face. When he glanced at her now, though, she seemed perfectly placid, usually scanning the tree line from the back of the group with a detached sort of determination. Nothing to worry about, then. Except Isabel, of course. Right. He had to reassure her. Why was he still so shaky?
Don't worry, Isabel. I may not look like much, but there's no spirit here in Mayview that would dare to mess with me.
Spender felt silly invoking his unearned reputation like this, but it was true most ghosts and ghouls were all barking a wide berth away from him these days, now the rumors were so thoroughly entrenched. Spell had nothing to fear, not with him around. Spender's plotting logic turned to Jean. That's right, he thought. He could only smell spirits, the weirdo. It was easy to forget that particular quirk of his condition. He was probably gawking at the rest of them, wondering just what had them so startled.
I'm sorry.
Spender said, turning to him, still in a daze.
There was this horrible howl.
Jean was utterly frozen in place, pale, a mask of wild terror.
Oh boy.
Every muscle in his body was balanced in paralyzing tension between fight and flight. Spender could only blink at him, lost in his shell-shocked confusion.
Huh?
He'd heard it? Not a spirit then, not a ghost. But what?
Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Go! Mina's order stopped his thoughts short. Spender's stare shifted to her. Go! She shouted, this time with an urgency that shook him, though she still looked calm and resolute. The truth that he'd forced down began to buoy up past his denial.
A monster?
Spender shook his head.
That's impossible.
It couldn't be. Not here. Jean hadn't changed, and yes, the moon wasn't full. Far from it, just a sliver. You could see it through the trees. Mina was on him and Jean now, shoving them forward. There's only one thing like a howl like that! A list instinct broke free from recent shackles. Spender grabbed Isabel's hand. They ran, were running, and the force was a blur. Ahead, the Hawkwatch and the East Hill lights were jostled into abstract form by the frenetic vision. a dizzying geometry of moats and lattice. Lattice? Whatever.
Lattice.
Lattice. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? The group was in the open when the next howl came. Spender heard gravel hiss behind him in its aftermath. Gene and Mina spinning on their heels. Just a little farther now. The Hawkworm was in safety, at a vantage point at least. Some distance. Clack, 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 clack. The sound of Isabel running beside him up his wooden steps filled Spender's heart with dread. They'd reached the tower's shallow peak too soon. 15 feet off the ground at most, far from the fortress it had felt when it had been their distant goalpost. Spender whirled, arms spread wide in front of Isabel. Ahead, his friends, the tree line. Behind, sheer cliffs, the lake, and all of Mayview. Silence hung in the air.
Yo.
What if it's just like a normal wolf? You ever think of that, guys?
It's just an actual wolf.
Yep.
Downwind, a mile further up the cliffs, the horror's howl was followed by a silly little whistle. Gage's way of showing he was thoroughly impressed.
That's one peeved puppy.
His voice, ever cursed to crackle with eternal adolescence, felt steady in his instinct nonetheless. Distance made the heart grow stronger, and Gage was far enough away this time to know the beast bathed for another's blood. Hi, what's up? Alright, see ya. Getting food.
Boo.
Somebody else's problem, just as Paige had planned. Gage craned his cuddly, fang-scarred neck to get a better view of the impending chaos below. Finding his perspective wanting, he sunk sharp nails into the old pine he'd been slumped against and scrambled quickly to a perch high in his
Bows.
bows. Gage wasn't truly built for climbing. Evolution had stamped out that skill even from hominids as spindly and primitive as the common teenage boy. The vampiric strength made up for that, as it did for most things. The bark yielded like sponge before its grasp. Ah, but what a thrill! The power, the speed, the night air on its face, the sight... Thanks, Ryan. Sight that went for miles in the moonlight, cast prismatic by his senses, perfect and predatory. If he wasn't under that man's thumb, vampirism would be such a gift. And this one's a big paragraph, so hold on. Paige was already above him, standing tall with folded arms on the tree's tip, looking like a fallen Christmas angel. Gage flashed a fanged grin at the striking sight of her. He might prefer Paige's leadership to the true master's sway. For one, Gage wasn't bound to her commands, a harsh fact of unlife when it came to orders given by the tyrant that had sired them. Then, even when Paige was strict, Gage always felt she needed him, if only as a fraction in the math of strength of numbers. To his pinstripe progenitor, he was indeed a sacrificial pawn, a thrall born of convenience. Paige and youth culture, they were thralls too. One chance encounter turned the whole trio. But Gage could sense that prideful, cunning Paige was meant for more. He convinced himself that she couldn't seize that fate without his help. That, and he thought she was super hot. Plus the names rhymed. Way cool.
True.
With these simple musings in his mind that Gage surveyed the fruit of Paige's schemes.
They fell for it just the way you said they would. Spectral suckers.
Gage licked his thin lips, imagining the coming carnage in sweet detail.
Now they'll be shreds in seconds.
Paige shot him a look of pure distaste. That's not the planet, you flea. What's wrong with you?
Yo, Flea, can't stop the fear that doesn't beat you. There's nothing more than just a read through.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan adding the most important.
Do-do-do-do, yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do.
We already have a soundtrack, Ryan, please.
Oh yeah, I'll mute it.
No.
I'm kidding.
Gage shriveled into himself until he looked like a weird human pug.
Right. We want the beast in shreds, not them.
Torn to bits.
Youth culture quipped, herself lucid upon a nearby branch. Taken care of. That's what Jones asked for. He wants savagery. He can be more specific. Page's scowl suggested there was more to her frustration than just phrasing. But without explicit statement, Paige was lost. Thanks to his loopholes, like, I guess.
I don't know.
I've never heard that word in my life.
Me neither. Largess.
Jack, I love your wording, but there's too much. Too many words.
Andrew Hussey.
Oh,
yes.
hello.
Largesse. Generosity in
Largesse.
bestowing money or gifts upon others.
Yes. Oh, from Kara and Dan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, you're almost your turn.
Yes, I am.
That's going to skip me.
Yes.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay, are you sure? Okay. Sorry about that. Meant to mute, but whatever.
Okay.
It's alright.
Thanks just loopholes log jest that we can tie this snare at all. If you fools had your way, we'd squander it and end up with dog food like those cops.
Whoa.
It wasn't often Davy Jones called in the trio services. Not these days, at least, despite the fact that they were the first of his foul horde. From one position of power, he'd seduced his way into the next. He was doing what?
I mean,
Thanks, guys.
look at him.
Sex. With a chin like that, his penis must be huge.
I hate you. Until
How do you were
in
gonna
recent
say
months,
square?
His penis must be a square.
like Minecraft.
Like Minecraft Steve's penis.
Alright.
Okay, let's move on. Until, in recent months, he had the whole Mayview police force at its horrid beck and thrall. Mayor Spender in its pocket too, that sway would should soon be made official and secured. Among his many other titles, he would be Chief of Police. Plenty of daylight muscle in those ranks. Rowdy loyal, the nocturnal with a bite should need a rise. You'd ask for intractable teens to do their bidding with legions of henchmen like that. Evidently, Mr. Jones, some few weeks back. I bought a camp, he said, sipping blood in his dark orange office, and you're going to work there. Davy's red-stained lips sunk into a sappy frown. Oh, come now. Don't be like that. None of the teens had even squinted. They were too scared of him for that. Gainful employment, it builds character. It shows the immature. Heaven knows it's high past time you three grew up. Big, deep belly laugh. Davy loved a good joke, especially his own. The jab missed Gage, in part because eternal youth was still a perk and not a sore spot in his eyes. Paige, though, he felt her tense beside him. Gage didn't get it, but he put a few more coals on his inner I hate Davy fire, just in case it might impress her. Now Jones was slowly spinning in his swivel chair, looking like the world's worst shopping channel product. I just suddenly remembered I looked like a rotisserie shithead.
I look like a rotisserie shithead.
We'll try to profit with a summer fun facade. Why not? Davy's grinning fangs flashed violet like a lighthouse with each rotisserie pirouette. It's
You
a
look like a
hunting
clown
ground.
fucked a nerd.
I was about to say you look like a nerd fucked the carpet or whatever he said.
God. It's a hunting ground, in truth. There's a certain loose end lurking in that stretch of West Hills woods, you understand? I want it taken care of.
Carpet
Yeah,
fucked a nerd, that's what it is.
Okay.
And it was that the carpet took initiative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Irresistible intent had hit Paige like a cold breeze. A direct command from the jerk that turned them. Now, of course, if you fought back, you felt the hierarchy like a steep slope underneath your every thought. Would fall right where he'd will you. All the same. The rest Davy had rattled off on the way out, but this loose end would spell them long before they saw it, that they should take care not to meet on the night of a full moon. The young man that he found in his employ in the process of purchasing the camp when Jean Garcia was not, in fact, the target. They should be mindful of mistaking him for such, lest they incur the wrath of, well, they'd see. It was all very vague and ominous, completely beyond Gage. Paige, however, had made sense of it, just like she always did. Davy's entourage was acting strange. Paige had counted missing faces in their ranks. 2 cops, Mr. Jones' favorites, or Davy's babies, as they proudly called themselves. Could have been sent to fetch the team. They were different, a new pair. A smile here, a threat, a few lies there, and Paige soon found the truth. 2 freshly bitten vampires spent into the woods on much the same mission, hunting this loose end. Something about strict orders not to mention it to Davy's son on protective detail. Irrelevant. What mattered to that neither had returned.
Take a bite of crime and suck
It's
the
blood.
blood.
I just
That
like and
calendar.
suck.
Blood.
What is that calendar? It's just a sexy
Oh.
man.
I think it's made of a bunch of gay people. This cop group, so it makes sense.
I like how we were just
Diversity
talking about.
lost.
We were just
Diversity
talking.
lost. These cops are gay.
We were just talking about Griffin McElroy, and there he is.
And there he is.
Yep.
We're next in line for the slaughter, Paige had said. Davy, he threw them at any problem. See what's splattered, see what's stuck. They couldn't count on him to keep them safe. They could only count on her. Even with a plan in place, having caught it unawares, the first encounter with the beast had been a nightmare. The most they'd managed was to anger it and flee. This plan, though, Paige had pulled the thread of Davy's warning and befriended Jean Garcia. Lo and behold, he was make-out besties with the one man Davy seemed to fear. Richard Spender, Navy's strongest spectral.
Wait, who was what? Oh, yeah.
Make-out
Gene is
besties.
make-out buddies with Fender, duh.
Make-out besties, I'm sorry.
Go besties.
Make-out besties. When Jones saw danger, Paige seemed the perfect chance. See the camping trip and pour Gene's mind, lure his friends into the woods, give Superboy a flashlight Gage had licked, let the beast pick up its scent and seek the snack that got away, then bam!
Oh.
Strongest spectral slays it.
Ooh. Just face, he looks like a monkey.
Everything had gone just like she'd planned. Everything except the little kid they brought with them. But that wouldn't be a problem. Not if Spender lived up to his reputation. Paige glanced at her companions. Chess and Gage had fallen silent, waiting for the spectacle to start. Youth Poacher, too, was watching hungrily without a word. Paige bit her nail, pressing under her breath.
I was about to say, I hope these teens don't die, but this is a
They're
flashback
already
to 10
dead.
years ago, and also
No,
they're
this
already
is-
dead.
That was a flashback to a few weeks ago when they would.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, I hope they don't die, but this, in general, is a 10-year flashback.
Oh, 6-year flashback right now.
Whatever!
I'm just helping out. Also, they were dead before this because they've
Oh yeah, the vampire.
Right.
vampires.
I know.
Just letting you know, buddy.
Nox should read!
Okay, if you want, Nox.
I haven't talked in a while. I'm yes.
Okay.
I'm fine with reading. Back at the Hawkwatch clearing down below, a suffocating stillness held the tension at the keen edge of uncertainty. Jean paced back and forth at the front of the group, looking like a wild creature in a cage. His eyes were wide and fixed on the forest ahead. As he went, his hands flexed at his sides as if to summon claws that wouldn't come. What?
Sorry, I just came up with a cruel game, which is like... we read it, and the minute we fuck up, we switch to the next.
That would be terrible.
That'd be awful.
You're not doing that.
I know, it's such a cruel game!
I wouldn't be able to like
5
focus
seconds.
if we did that. Yeah.
And we just see who gets to go the longest.
He looked up to the moon over and over, repeatedly dispelling some unknown source of disbelief.
Come on.
It wasn't clear if Jean was talking to himself, frustrated that some sleeping strength refused him, or if he was just impatient with the threat still lurking in the darkness. Mina observed as much, standing statue still beside him. She knew that they were up against it, as unlikely as it seemed, having heard that howl before. They all heard that howl before, but never that loud, never that deep, that ominous. God, but just how big must this one be? As that thought crossed her mind, she felt Ventralabite squirm on her back, still hidden beneath her flowing clothes. The spirit was working overtime to keep her fear in check. Mina wondered with detached shame what she'd feel now without it. Her whole body felt numb, another puppet, not a true part of herself. But the group was counting on her to stay calm. Logic droned its way into the void of dulled emotion. I guess, do you want to read?
Hold on, everything's frozen.
Oh.
Oh.
I can't. Everything. What?
Eh?
Huh?
Oh my god, if this laptop's gonna blue screen, can I do it already?
Oh no.
Oh
Itsuno!
no!
I'm in like the trap right before it leaves me blue screen, so I'm just kind of holding out.
Bye, Isu.
Okay.
No,
I guess I'll continue while Isu gets their shit together. Jean isn't himself right now. You'll have to watch his back, but don't let yourself get bitten. There's no support here. We agreed to lie to keep Jean safe. If there's another monster in Mayview, end it before boss leader can find out. Swear the Guerrera girl to silence. No one can know, or they'll come after Jean. The woods before them were as quiet as the grave. Jean let out a snarl of frustration, violently kicking at the gravel underfoot. I'll just do it for now.
Hey, it's me, Isu. Come on.
Come on! His shouts echoed, thundered with a second layer, like a fierce but frightened growl. He looked to Mina, furious, searching for some direction. His expression softened when he saw her face, a sympathetic but stern warning. Jean shut his eyes, breathing deep for a few seconds. He turned to Spender, high up on the hawk watch. This time Jean looked guilty, scared, but resolute. I have to go, he said. He glanced at Mina, then back to Spender. We have to go. If it won't come to us... He shook his head, fighting down complicated feelings. I can't let something like that just roam free. Spender stared back down at him, fearful, transfixed. There goes Isu. His lips dry from heavy breathing.
Oh, I didn't realize they hadn't disconnected yet.
Yeah, I just heard the noise. His lips dry from heavy breathing, parted slightly, but no words escaped. Too much of what he felt towards Jean was still unspoken. To say all of it now, it would feel so thin, so fragile, its potential torn too early from its nest. Instead, Spender just nodded. If nothing else, he could give Jean his trust. The gesture seemed to steel Jean. He stood taller, nodded back, and took off running, disappearing in the woods. Mina only briefly glanced over her shoulder before following suit. The neon flare spectral energy that trailed behind her quickly split into a distant, jagged sheen, crosshatched by sprawling foliage until it too was gone. Spender took a step forward.
I think this might be Isabel.
Oh, true. Wait! He felt a tiny hand grab his shirt.
The alt text. Watch out, Spender! The West Hill Horror's tiny hand grabbed you!
Isabel was staring up at him with frustrated intensity. Her gaze seemed to slip off a direct eye contact, falling to the left and right in staggered sequence. Despite this, she seemed as though her heels were dug in deep. The flashlight at her side bounced with a subtle rhythm to words she was rehearsing in her head. A beat of silence passed between them. Spender thought he saw some of the look that Jean had given him in her determination. It was no surprise to him that Isabel
saying determination. She looks like Frisk.
It was no surprise to him that Isabel was eager to prove herself. She was her grandfather's granddaughter, after all, but there was no way he was letting her go anywhere near those woods.
Isabel, you can't. You have to stay here.
Isabel shook her head furiously. Welcome back, Isu.
Welcome back, Isurani.
Knew it was gonna happen.
That was really funny because I was like, goodbye, Isu, and then you went, no, it's... And then immediately you were gone.
Hold on, I can't even see you in the thing.
Oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
He's just trying, everybody.
Hello?
How can I see you in this?
Oh, should I disconnect and come back?
No, hold on. I'll force quit.
Okay.
This is fine. We know they fuck later. That's true.
That's good. You guys might have to leave and come back.
Okay.
This is...
Okay.
Now I can...
Alright. That's
Oh,
the wrong thing. Wrong thing. Hold on.
I can't see Nox. Nox, can you come back?
What? I'm here.
You're leaving. Can you leave and come back? There we go. I see you again.
All right.
Yeah, Discord did that with me too one time.
It's done that to me as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Can you see my stream?
Yes.
Okay.
We read ahead a little bit while you were gone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I can read this page.
I've been reading though.
Oh, then continue
You
reading.
You can read the next one. I mean, I'm still
read
good.
the next one.
What did we last read?
I don't know.
I think Isabel shook her head furiously. No, don't go! She shouted. She fumbled with the flashlight to grab Spender with both hands. Spender blinked. What? Oh, of course. His own penchant for heroics at a young age had misled him. No kid in their right mind would be itching for a fight after all this. No, she just thought... Did she think he was going after Jean and Mina? That she'd left her here all alone? Again, Spender was reminded just how young she was. Of course, he wouldn't put up and leave her. There was a monster on the loose. He was staying behind to protect her. That was the whole point.
You don't understand.
Spender started to say, smiling despite the tension. I do! She cried, and her voice cracked. Spender felt his heart free fall just from the sound of it. He froze, suddenly lost. You don't! Isabel was fighting tears, stamping her feet against the hollow wood. No one does! The tears welled up past her resistance and she choked, breaking out into a wail. I'm not brave. I'm not strong. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared! She was pulling at him desperately now, trying to drag him further back into the Hawkwatch. Spender, stunned, let him sink onto one knee.
Isabel.
He said, his own voice high in his throat. He put his hands on both their shoulders.
I'm not going anywhere.
She thrashed him off. You're lying! Isabel shook her head again, trying to escape the pooling tears blurring her vision. That's what Dad said, but he left. And Mom leaves Ed, and it's because they think I'm strong, and I'm not, but nobody believes me. A step or two she stumbled back, brought Spender into focus. Her frustration seemed to spike, then dissipate, leaving only simple sadness in its place. Isabel let out a stuttered sob and lurched forward, throwing her arms around Spender. The force of it spun him around, but he wasn't rattled long. He hugged her back. I hate you, she whimpered. I hate you. It's not fair. She was so small. He was a storm of guilt. Spender had seen nothing but himself. No, even then he'd forgotten where his own strength, the kind he'd seen in her, came from. Tough because tears were a burden, brave because they had to fight alone. Hardworking for affection, fleeting praise. Isabel was only 6 and already caught in those grinding gears, family failing and trying and failing again. What was he to her amidst all this? Another adult who only cared when she was crying. No, worse than that. He was the mold she bent herself to fit, a knight in shining armor that he'd forced a heart like hers to hide inside. All his nostalgia felt so silly now in hindsight. He didn't want his childhood for Isabel, running from a cold home, piecing together parents from mentors who would leave her in the end. She didn't have to inherit his role as Mayview's self-appointed spectral steward, his open-ended quest to save it from its monsters and its mysteries. All of that was far too much for her. It was far too much for him. Even if, when she was older, none of this should be like it was then. A voice entered Spender's mind, a long-lost memory. My life's work hasn't failed until it ends up the next generation's burden. Something Ed's mother had said. When had she said it? Spender couldn't recall. He hoped she didn't feel the sense of failure he felt now.
Best comment of the night. Never thought I'd see fan art of Dave Strider hugging Frisk Undertale.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry, Isabel.
He said. The words weren't enough. Sorry.
Oh, Nox fucked up. That means Easy's got to read the next. I'm making a joke. Laugh with my joke.
No.
I'm
here. I'll stay. I'll listen.
She kept hugging him, crying like any other kid. He squeezed her close. Oh.
Whoa! Oh my God! It's that Tumblr post.
Oh.
Do you love the color of the sky?
Then the monster stepped out from the woods. No fanfare, not a sound. Just a shadow that had been stilled, now in motion. Spender's heart surged in his chest. He rose slowly to his feet, still holding Isabel.
Don't worry,
he said. It was a great white beast, the colorful moonlight. Walking on all fours with a hunched simian gait, the look on its face was placid, almost pitiful, but its eyes were fixed on them. No, its eye. A long scar sealed one shut.
I'll protect you, Isabel.
It took a silent sidelong route, shuffling still closer. Spender felt the charged proximity of predator and prey, the impossible peace before the chase began. Pointed ears twitched with each stifled sob from Isabel, buried in Spender's shirt. She hadn't heard it, hadn't seen it. Not yet. Not yet. Spender raised one hand. He'd steal its moonlight if this meager sliver really didn't sustain it. Just like he did for Jean when it was full. He flicked his wrist. Silver scattered from its silhouette like mist. Nothing changed. Darkness veiled the monster, now just feet away. The werewolf rose up to full height.
Yo.
Words failed.
Yo, that thing's fucking huge!
Why is it so big?
Why is he so big?
He's a big boy.
He looks like fucking, he looks like the girl from, Full Metal Alchemist.
Jesus Christ, Ryan.
Damn, that thing's terrifying. This is 2022?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no. It stared
I
at
can
them.
do it. Stop.
Let Issa read.
Jesus, okay. Isu wants to read so bad.
She wants to save you. It stared without making a sound. Even its breath, rising as mist despite the warm night air, was masked by Isabel's now waning sobs. Spender stood frozen. He felt Lucifer pouring at its mind, trying to draw him down into a spirit trance. Not yet, he thought. Not while it hasn't made a move. If there was any chance that he could save Isabel from the scar that this sight would carve, if there was any chance the trance's glow would spark its wrath, he had to be patient. The single eye regarding him blinked once. Spender had never seen a werewolf show restraint before, if this stillness could be called that. When Jean turned, he was half this creature's size. He flailed like something feral in the few moments before he lost its moonlight. Perhaps this beast was an exception, and would lose interest before. Adrenaline surged in a steep wave as the werewolf's long digits unfurled. It slowly reached down towards them. Benign curiosity recast in Oh, welcome back. Yay, I'll get through it in a second. Benign curiosity recast in a sinister shape by the razor-sharp claws that ringed its outspread hand. Spender readied all the power that he had, and a golden light descended from on high. Spirit trance, thought Spender, the world inside my weapon. Now I'll have a chance to move, or at least to choose what to do next. Confusion set in when the werewolf raised its arm to block the light, which had now grown even brighter. Where was it coming from? The beast squinted. Spender looked up. At last his sunglasses proved useful. Behind them, Spender's eyes went wide.
Yo. Choo-choo!
I like that Isabel face.
Spender wings.
Spender wings.
The ghost train smashed into the werewolf with the force of full charge, sending an explosive, crunching clap out throughout the night. Isabel flinched in Spender's arms, letting out a startled yelp, but he'd already whirled his body away from the impact to protect her, enveloping both of them in a reflexive shield of spectral wings. Spender glanced over his shoulder through his construct's shining feathers. What?
Like Dave's sprite.
Okay. Surprise struck him anew. The werewolf had been driven back no more than 15 feet. It held the huge spirit Mina had tamed with just one hand, snorting and shifting its weight with vague frustration as it tried to better grip the train's great face. Two cyclopean stairs danced wildly feet from each other. The train from sudden fear, the wolf because its phantom foe was only light that reached its senses by sheer force of will alone. The light grew brighter as the train's long body
writhed.
That's a weird word. Helpless and worm-like. His jaws creaked open with a screeching tear. Extra teeth sprouted like a grass in time-lapse. The train unleashed a haunting wail, soon joined by brand-new eyes and limbs that grasped and glowered at the beast holding it back. In its panic, the train was becoming a grudge.
Oh boy.
The werewolf dug a second set of claws into the ghost train's metal hide. It took a single step forward, summoning a reservoir of strength that didn't match its gaunt, dangling limbs. The ghost train screeched against the rails it wasn't riding.
What's going on?
Squeaks Isabel beneath the din, now struggling to see. Spender raised one hand and pinched the ghost train's headlight to a single focused point. Inside the spirit's frenzied mind, its tiny pilot caught a glimpse of Spender's aim, and, straining against the ghost train's fear, reclaimed its tangled reins. The werewolf's arms spread wide in a distorted circle with a sound like bubbled air reaching the water's surface. The ghost train's power let it pass through anything it wished to. With the limbs that held it warped aside, it chose to strike the werewolf at full force.
Holy shit.
Yikes.
The beast let out a muffled grunt of pain as the headlight spear pierced through it. Clawed feet was thrust up off the ground. The werewolf was hurled back at a breakneck speed, thrown from the ghost train's shining horn. Spender watched it sail in a long arc over the cliffs, silently hurtling hundreds of feet, until at last it crashed out of view to the forest far below. The ghost train squealed to a slow stop. His breathing rattled, sickly breaths.
What is it? What's happening?
Isabel was looking around, frantically taking in the scene as Spender's spectral wings receded. Spender set her down gently. He stood, staring over the cliffs for a few seconds. No movement from below. No rustling trees, no sound. He turned to see the glowing windows of the Great Spirit now level with the Hawkwatch, hovering in place, the features of its grudge slowly receding. Spender smiled down at Isabel. She blinked old tears away in soft confusion.
Our train's here.
Spender said, and offered her his hand.
That's a really good page.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm CP.
Yeah, you want to stop here?
Yeah, you can eat dinner and I can go to CP.
Go sleepy, buddy.
Look at that disrespect.
Look at that Spender, though.
They all live happily ever after.
They all live happily ever.
Happily ever. No, they fucking didn't.
Damn, okay.
I hate how Melly said, oh boy, I hope the ghost train makes it. That's
I
so
saw that.
fucked up and sad. Sock Puppy died for your sins.
Sock Puppy.
Sock Puppy.
Okay, good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night, my friends.
Good night, my queens. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. There's 2 musics playing. I apologize. There we go. Thank you for watching! Rhyme Fitum Live. I'm Rhyme Fitum. And this was my fucking box of tricks. Got 'em. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm pretty tired. Alright, hope you guys have a nice night. I might be back tomorrow, but I'm... Oh, wait. Oh, fuck. It's already Friday tomorrow, isn't it? Damn, it is. Okay, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with Cassie. And I'll see you then. All right, bye.